I'm missing my sister's birthday for this. Hello and welcome to The Boy and the Bear. After our last episode and international break, some normality returned to both sides of Glasgow. Celtic gave an assured response to their old firm humbling with a standard 3-0 victory over Hearts, whilst Rangers gave their usual basket case performance to any team that isn't Celtic or a European holiday destination. As always, I am joined by Paddy the Boy and Scotty the Bear. Scotty, how are you getting on, mate?
I'm great, mate. Wonderful, how are you?
Good, thanks, mate. Good. Sounds so sure there. And Paddy Boy, as always, how are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, mate. Do I say humbling again? I'm good, thanks, man. I'm good.
I'm not even going to keep speaking, just on to compliments, boys. Paddy, you're up first.
My compliment is well done to Rangers for winning in spite of Jack Butland. What an absolutely mental game that was. I have to say, when I saw the score flash up that it was 2-0 to Dundee, you're thinking it was exactly what we talked about last time, right? Which was they've beaten Celtic, but can they actually go and win their next game? And somehow they got there. So like it could have been anything. I could have said congrats on Dessers scoring his 50th chance of the game or something. But no, I think we're going to come on to it later in the podcast. But I think Butland is the elephant in the room that maybe some Rangers fans need to speak about. But well done on finally following up a derby win with a win against one of the other teams.
Thank you.
Love that you say some Rangers fans, but we've only got one on the podcast, so he needs to speak about it.
I'm pretty sure we've got 2 Rangers fans on the podcast. going by the comments anyway.
Scotty Boy, your compliment for Pat?
So my compliment is kind of a wee bit similar this week. It's obviously getting absolutely humbled the Old Firm game, and then that could have derailed, that could have carried on for a wee bit of time, but you don't let that get to you. You just crack on. So mentality can be questioned.
Caravan
these
keep
teams
rolling.
Yep, the dogs keep barking.
You just gotta keep that caravan rolling, man.
Absolutely, it's not getting any Rangers caravans, not getting any wheels. It's getting dragged along the ground, but we're getting there. But no, I would say that
I'm
you
sure
guys
you're just about to throw Jack Butland under that caravan as well.
we'll get to it. No, but I'll just say winning again after a kind of difficult last game, I think it says a lot about your mentality. So that's your compliment this week. So
a bit boring though, eh? Just a bit boring.
The compliments.
No, nothing wrong with your compliment, mate. You got across brilliant. I just mean Celtic beating Hearts 3-0.
Gutted, were you?
He had money in Hearts.
It was more from the point of view that Hearts obviously come into the game like on form, and you think Hearts can maybe do something here. Like Celtic missing their number one goalkeeper, and you just hope that not even if Celtic had won 2-1 or just blew them away first half.
And just make a game of it. Just make a game of it.
I just really wanted to actually watch it and enjoy it, and I was just like, this is rubbish. Yeah. Amazing if you're a Celtic fan, but I was just like, come on.
I think you say that every week about Celtic.
Oh, it would be the same if Rangers were like 12 points clear. I'm not. And then obviously the Rangers case, the opposite of that. Like watching that Dundee game is mad, absolutely mad.
If you're a neutral watching that, that's a great advert. But for me, got a few greys in the hair.
If you're going to grow the game, though, they're the sort of games you need. You need like.
But I need to regrow my hair after every match, mate. It's not a good look. So.
I need to do that every year, mate. Don't worry. I know a boy. Well, let's rather than me rattle on, let's go into the common piece, which, if you are a new listener, is an opportunity for our boy and bear to ask a question to each other. And Scotty, I'm going to let you go first, please.
My common piece this week, Paddy Boy, is Big Brenda. Goes on about
Brenda or Brendan?
Same thing.
Oh no, that's a good Rangers part of that. Nice one.
What
you've done is you've taken a letter away from
them. Got to give the people what they want.
That is fantastic stuff.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Did you actually mean that?
Yeah. Anyway, Brendan was greeting about respect, right? Now, Brendan doesn't show anyone respect. He doesn't show anyone respect in this game. Doesn't show Rangers respect. So my common piece to you is, why is he making such a mountain out of a molehill? It's a wee bit of water. There's no lack of respect.
You still banging on about this war?
He mentioned it yesterday, Saturday. So I just wanted to. That's my common piece. Why is he still moaning about it? It was 2 weeks ago. Get over it. Like, still greeting. It's a derby. There shouldn't be any respect on the field. It should be two teams that hate each other. That's what a derby is. Off the park, between the fans and the board and stuff, there's got to be a level of appreciation and respect. But on the park,
Wow.
you're playing a derby. Stop greeting about some water, Brendan. Get on with it, mate. So
Okay, I'm going to respond to your question with 2 questions.
that's fine. You do you, mate.
And because this is a come in peace section, I'm going to try and keep.
Look at you fizzing. Look at you.
You've rattled me there.
Absolutely.
So the first response to your question is: can you identify a time at all where Brendan Rodgers has ever been disrespectful?
Yeah, called us the opposition.
You
Were
were
opposition.
On your club. It doesn't know, but you know, we say in our communication Celtic, it's opposition or the other Glasgow club. I mean, that's a bit lack of respect. So there you go. So
we didn't call you.
no,
by,
but you.
by name.
I'm not bothered about it. But I'm not
Just called
bothered
him
about it.
Brenda.
To be fair, he also showed your club a bit of disrespect when he left halfway through the season.
But what I'm saying is, he's on about respect, but he doesn't give respect out. He demands respect, but doesn't give it back to other clubs.
I think there's an argument as to whether all Brendan Rodgers' chat and respect is authentic, but I do think he's definitely someone.
Just like his Gucci belt.
I do enjoy the Gucci belt part. But I do. No, I think Brendan Rodgers is someone that always actually speaks quite eloquently, and
didn't say he didn't speak eloquently. I'm just saying he doesn't respect other teams.
I think he does. I think he does treat opposition with a lot of respect, Scott. And I think when someone squirts water into a fan's face, whether or not it's, whether it's a big deal or not, we discussed that last episode.
Yeah.
It's definitely not respectful.
Also, respect's earned, mate. Like you don't just give it. It's not as if like Rangers fans are shaking him by the hand every single time he turns up to Ibrox. And
no, exactly. Like away in Bolt, mate. It's a derby.
Rodgers walked right up to Barry Ferguson at the end of the game and said, "Good game, Barry. Congratulations. Well done."
Yeah, that's different. That's two managers. But instead of greeting about it, saying, "Oh, Rangers showed us no respect," like, of course we've shown no respect. We've shown you too much respect in the past, and that's how we've been turned over every time. Stop greeting. It's a derby. Do you mean that's what I'm trying to say? Like, it's
so
just
wait a minute. You've just said that Brendan Rodgers shows no teams any respect, and you've just said
no, but okay,
right to not show him respect.
No, I said Celtic, the team,
after calling him Brenda.
Right. I don't. I'm a fan. I'm allowed to say what I want, but I'm just saying that if you are Brendan greeting that a team doesn't show you up respect on the field, it's a derby. Go over it.
I think that's ludicrous. I think Rodgers actually holds himself to really high standards, and in general is a very
well. You would do if you were wearing snakeskin boots all the time as well. So
you're not really respecting him just now, are you?
No, I don't need to respect him. He doesn't need to respect me.
I think
but
I'm
I'm
saying yourself into the hole yourself.
It's more his wardrobe you seem to have a concern about, to be honest.
I know. I just take the Gucci belt part.
To be honest, see when all Rangers have got to do about Rodgers is going about his belt, go on about his shoes, and calling Brenda.
I'm just taking the piss, mate. It's called a joke. Having a joke. Look at you. You're rattled. You are rattled, son. You are rattled. The wee cogs are working overtime. Rattled, just like Brendan. Oh.
I'm fine. It's you that seems a bit rattled, mate.
Right, move on. Let's go. Let's crack on. That's your compliment.
I think you're a bit rattled there, Scott.
I'm rattled, mate. I'm loving life, mate.
I'm not. I'm still trying.
I'm all aboard the Barry boat. That's what I'm about. Right. So.
I'm just still trying to get over what's just happened. Right. You've called Brendan Rodgers Brenda. And then asked why he doesn't respect anyone else. And then
I said any other teams. Other teams
failed to identify any point at which he has shown.
I just tell you, but you ripped the piss there, and I did say.
Give me a time he's disrespected another team.
Rangers, the opposition. Oh, the other team in Glasgow. Oh, it's like just give us the Rangers. Use the right words. You complain about saying, "Oh, Rangers don't show Celtic." Use the name when you're in correspondence. Use the name. There's a lack of respect there. If you want to play that ball, I'm not greeting about it. I'm just using his words against him.
You Celtic fans outside Ibrox because you got bored of them celebrating.
Right.
Give us our name. Jeez,
that was my comment piece. It was all a bit of a joke. I had nothing else prepared, so I just
seemed quite cathartic for you, Scott. So
it's quite fun. I just enjoyed it. It's all about. I was just trying to see how much I could rile Pat up, and it worked. So
it did work. I'll give you that.
I'm pretty good.
Speaking of respect, the Scottish Sun.
That wonderful establishment of paper.
Such a respectful rag. Anyway, another respectful.
I use it in my toilet. What?
A respectful man, Chris Boyd, wrote a, I think deliberately provocative clickbaity article.
Well, it was on a YouTube podcast, I believe, and then quoted subsequently from it.
Okay. Well, I think Boydie still knows what he's doing. However, it was an interesting question. He raised the possibility of Greg Taylor, who's out of contract in the summer, signing for Rangers. Would you take him?
No.
Wow. Why?
I just don't. I mean, is he any better than Ridvan Yilmaz? No. And I don't think he is. I think they're very on par, and I don't think Ridvan is good enough to sustain it over a season. I don't think Greg Taylor is for what we need. He's okay in certain matches, and I'm not saying he's not a bad player, but I just think we need to be going for a bit higher quality of player, because he'd be wanting to come in and he'd be wanting to be the starting left back, right? But we've got Yefty, who's an asset that we need to build up and give the minutes to
20 million
sell on.
Yefty, isn't it?
Maybe eventually, mate. Maybe eventually it might be 20 million, but I don't think this year. But I just don't see it. I think he's not at the right age for this team. I think the new owners or strategy, whatever they want to adopt, I just don't think he would fit into it. Personally, I don't think it would go down well. Obviously, he's played for Celtic for a number of years, and
do you not think it would actually go down the other way, where it's like almost like a one-up to Rangers, that you've managed to go and get a player that, because it's not as if Celtic, from what I'm seeing, maybe having not offered him a contract, it seems like Celtic are still keen to keep him, which seems like more of a player decision.
Yeah.
Do you not say that's a one-up for Rangers if they manage to just go and sign him? And how many league titles has he won? 4, 5?
5, I think.
5, yeah. So
I didn't say he was a bad, but I just don't think, just not for
So
me.
you disagree with Chris Boyd?
Yeah, I do.
Because it's never going to happen anyway. I just thought I'd raise the question.
It's not for
I
me.
think it could, by the way.
It's not for me. Like, it's not for me.
I don't see why that couldn't happen. He's just had a kid, so his life's wherever he stays, and imagine he stays in and around Glasgow. I'd imagine Rangers would be able to offer him the wages that any other
Greg
European
Taylor's
team.
not signing for Rangers.
I won't.
Listen, they said the same with Kenny Millers, and that stranger things have happened.
Stranger things have happened, but it's not going to happen.
If they offer Greg Taylor the same amount of money, if you're Greg Taylor and Rangers offer you the same amount of money as you would get going to, like, I don't know, Club Bruges or something like that.
You'll go
Maybe
to
not
Club Bruges.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I picked a bad example, but put my point in the same manner. Speaking of Rangers players or potential Rangers players, Scotty, I didn't see your balloons and party hats for Dessers getting to 100 appearances.
Congrats, Dessers.
I know, congratulations.
Shout out to Cyriel Dessers.
Yeah, shout out big CD9. No, fair play. I didn't. So when I saw that yesterday, I was like, Jesus, he's haunted my dreams for 100 games. It is what it is. I think I'm resigned to accepting Cyriel Dessers for.
I think you just have to hate him now because you've dug yourself so.
No,
far
I don't hate him. I don't hate him. I do not hate him.
You do a little bit.
No,
Would you like some Cyriel Dessers stats?
Can I just finish my point and then you can come in with your
He's so ready
CD9
to take his
stats?
stats out the oven.
Yeah.
Here's some I prepared earlier.
No. What I will say is, I've said this before, I don't think he is a striker you can hang your hat on in key moments in key games. We've seen it before. He gets the opportunity at 1 or 2 key chances in a game and he fluffs it, right? He's come up with some big moments, some big goals, but over the course of it, I just don't think he's equipped to be the main striker for Rangers in key games. Now, is he good enough to be third choice? Absolutely. He has got a decent goal return in 100 games. You can't deny that.
45.
I don't hate the guy. I really don't. I think he's a nice guy, but do I think he's
shows plenty of respect.
do I think he's Rangers quality? No, I don't. So, yeah.
You're a nice guy, Cyriel.
But yeah, I'm not. I think I'm just resigned to accepting that Cyriel Dessers is a guy that will take 10 chances to score 1.
Do you see him getting to 200 Rangers appearances? And does it not also speak volumes that Barry Ferguson's come in and has hung his hat on him straight away?
Yeah.
And has not shifted from that. Even when Eagleman's played, he's played Dessers with him.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I think Eagleman's one of these young strikers. He'll go through good spells and bad spells, and I think that's the manager's job. But Dessers has improved. I have to say, his all-round game has gotten better over the last couple of weeks since Barry's been in. I do wonder if that has had an impact.
Is Cyriel Dessers good enough to be Rangers' starting striker next season? Should it be Eagleman, or do they need to go and sign a new striker? And I already know what you're going to say, but he's just scored a 93rd minute winner. Like,
Yeah,
I honestly don't really know. And I've watched him live now, and listen, I absolutely understand that. Like, you do need to have other players kicking around him, and probably a really good number 10 playing behind him. But like, he scores goals.
We always say at the top level, don't we, in Champions League, it's like if you don't take your chances, you get punished. And like to do well in those games or those cup finals or those big games, the first chance you get, you need to sort of bury it. And so often Celtic have been the wrong end of that. You know, we had Kyogo, who was such a lethal finisher, but even at the highest level, sometimes it would take him two missed opportunities and then he'd score the next one. Whereas actually the best results in Europe always come when you get two chances on goal and score them both. You know, you've got to be clinical. That happens to Celtic and Rangers
not clinical
so
enough.
often. Like how many times do we dominate games in Europe and then, you know, Atletico Madrid, Lazio, Feyenoord, go up the other end of the park, get one chance, bury it. You know,
but that's why I'm saying I just don't think he's got the quality enough to be the starting striker for a full season. I think he's got the right mentality to play for Rangers. When he's had bad moments, he doesn't let it affect him, right? And I think he's got the mentality side of things to play for a club with this level of expectation. But I just don't think you can hang your hat on him being the key chance taker that you need on key moments. I just don't think he's got it.
Yeah, it was more the consistency that got me, to be honest with you, because usually you would think of a player like Dessers and you would think, oh, maybe he scored like 20 goals in one season and then like 10 the next, and it kind of evens itself out. But no, in his 100 games for Rangers, he played 54 games last season, and he scored 22 goals in all competitions, and he's played 46 this season and scored 23. So he's 1-2 this season for a pretty bang average team, to be fair.
Yep.
In the league anyway.
Very bang average, yeah.
Yeah, very bang average. And he scored 4 goals in 12 European performances this season. And it's more the level of games. He seems like he is available for near enough every single game.
I mean, he doesn't get injured.
Never really gets held up in his favour. Like, he turns up for every single game. So,
what frustrated me, especially when he first came, is, you know, you look at his overall play when he first came. He still loses the ball now and again, but I do think it's gotten better. His hold-up play, his ability to bring other players in, which has helped us progress at the park, has come on since Barry's come in, and I think that can't be underappreciated. I think that has to be noted that he has done very well, but again, I just don't think he's overall great at finishing to be able to sustain being Rangers number one.
Well, speaking of number ones, if he was playing against your current number one, I reckon he would maybe have a few more goals to his name.
Yes, 100%.
Jack Butland, Scotty boy. Actually, do you know what? I'm going to let Pat lead with this. Okay. Jack Butland.
You know, I have to do my homework for this podcast, and I watch the Rangers highlights. Obviously watch full Celtic games. Fling on the highlights of the Gers, see how they're getting on, and it seems to me that more often than not, he makes a lot of like fumbles and mistakes leading to goals or you know, high chances for the opposition. I don't think his kicking or distribution is like that noteworthy. Like I just, for all the hype around Butland when he arrived, I don't really see any evidence to back that up. I think every goalkeeper has amazing saves in their, as Roy Keane says, that's their job. And I think he made a couple of good stops against Celtic in the past, but you just see that spill against Dundee, and I've seen him do that on a number of occasions. And
poor in Europe at some points this season.
Yeah, well. I don't know, like, because last season he was so consistent. I mean, it was a brick wall last season, and I raved about him, and I said, you know, and you guys asked me the question, would you sell him? And I said, no, I think you need to build the defence around him, and like, because he was really strong last year. Like, really, I don't think you can deny that. He kept his distribution last year was pretty spot on most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he didn't really fumble a lot. He was commanding in his box. He came and claimed a lot. Whereas this year, like you said, he's a hot mess. He fumbles everything. Like that thing for Joe Shaughnessy's goal. I mean, what the absolute hell! And then the same with Simon Murray. I mean, that's a great finish, but there's no commanding of your box. It was a couple of weeks ago. It's like he almost picks. He has one good game, Celtic. Then he follows up by a disastrous performance, and then has an okay game, and then goes back to having a good game. And then I don't know if is that down to him feeling really comfortable that jersey is his. He's not really got any competition despite Liam Kelly being there, or is it that he's just lost interest because the team's been so crap this year? Or
Was Liam Kelly any worse than him? When he was injured, I don't think so.
I don't think he was, mate. I don't think Liam Kelly was any worse. Especially Jack Butland at his worst is pretty bad. Like, I don't think it's mental to suggest throwing in the Scotland number 2.
Where does replacing your goalkeeper stand on your to-do list, Scotty? Whereabouts does it rank?
Just going to play him up front by the sounds of things.
I don't think it. I think if a good offer comes in, you'd take it, but I don't think it's like a problem area.
30 million again after getting called up.
I think he needs.
Saudi.
Maybe I do think actually. Now you've mentioned it, sorry, Steve. Just to interject with what Pat said, I do think that's probably maybe an underlying reason why his form's gone off a cliff, because
an England manager came and watched him.
Yeah, and then they didn't pick him, and he was on really good form. He was playing really well in Europe, and then the manager didn't pick him, and I think his confidence is just taking a knock. And I think we're seeing that. Like, these guys are human at the end of the day, right? So
listen, it's happened to Celtic's keeper as well. Like, look at Kasper Schmeichel's journey. Like, he obviously legend at Leicester, and he's remembered very, very fondly at Leicester, but he wasn't great in his last season at Leicester, and then obviously went to France, and that didn't work out great for him, and Celtic's been a bit of a revival, and now he might face a battle himself. I mean, Pat, what did you make of your number 2 keeper at the weekend?
It's good. It's hard to judge when it's not had much to do.
You went 3-0 and nothing happens.
He made a really good save when the scores were level, but still a save you'd expect him to make. But he was vocal and quite commanding, which I liked. In the same way that Kasper's a really good organiser of the defence. He's very vocal. He's structured. He commands his box. I thought Sinisalo was very similar. I remember thinking he was brilliant when we went to the Scotland-Finland friendly at Hampden last year. The final send-off to the boys before they went and got pumped by Germany the week after. And Sinisalo made a couple of brilliant saves in that game. And I remember being really, really pleased when we'd signed him. I thought it was a really shrewd piece of business. And it's about time it's taken him quite a while to wait for his chance, So, and early signs are good, but Kasper, I think, is out until the next international break. There was chat of being out until next September. So,
what did he do, Pat?
I think it was shoulder injury with Denmark.
Or is it?
And he also we're going about Kasper Schmeichel's dip in form. Like, he saved a penalty from Ronaldo and played. He's been consistently great for Denmark, which I think is how he got his Celtic move again.
Just terrible in Old Firm, though, wasn't he?
Wasn't great. Yeah, well, I don't think anyone came out of the
no. Sinisalo,
Jack Butland, did he get an assist?
Sinisalo or Jack Butland already know the answer to the questions, gents. But Scotty, I'll start with you. If you in the summer, just imagine he's not a Celtic player, could sign Sinisalo to replace Jack Butland, would you do it?
How old's Sinisalo?
23, 24.
Just purely on ability. I just want ability.
I've not actually seen the guy, to be honest, mate. So
you were sitting next to Pat in the stand.
Yeah, I just didn't realise it was him. So.
You've seen the same saves.
Literally went to the game.
Yeah, I know.
The insightfulness of this podcast is unbelievable.
Yeah, I don't.
We both pointed at him. And went,
did you see him, Pat? Didn't you see him?
Nah, I've obviously had a couple of pints that day, boys. I think
you weren't drinking.
Oh, was I not? See, there you go again. That's right. Well, I think you probably would, just on a few factors. You'd probably, on his age, he's got a bit more, maybe a higher ceiling, because Jack is into that. Like,
you would try to think of a part of the ceiling to describe it.
Yeah. I was trying to think of the word before I said it. So, but no, I would probably, I'd say maybe you would swap him just based on a few factors, like his age and his selling value and stuff. So maybe you would swap him.
Well, talking about maybe time to cash in. Pat, does Maeda come into that bracket?
No, there's actually talk of Maeda getting a extended contract. This contract currently runs until 2027, and there's been a lot of talk recently about him renewing his contract. Rodgers himself said that he wants time down.
Time down with his Gucci belt.
He's hit 30 goals now this season, which puts him right up there with some of the best strikers that we've had in the last
Chris
20
Boyd.
years.
Kenny Miller.
It's been an amazing season from the guy, and given he's not even played up front the entire season, he spent the first half of the season out in the left wing. It's a frightening return, and if this is him just coming into the peak of his powers, and I'd love it to be at Celtic.
I think that? Oh no, you go, Scotty.
I was going to say, what is the money that you would? What would it take for you guys to cash in on him?
Like Kyogo went for 10 million.
Something similar, or
You'd get
maybe
more.
more?
You'd want more. You'd want more for that, because I think Maeda, as much as it pains me to say it, because I love Kyogo, but you look at Maeda's history at Celtic, and he's been so important to the way that we play in terms of the pressing with Ange, the amount of goals he scored against teams just by robbing them up the pitch and then putting it in the goal, or the amount of goals he scored against Rangers and terrorised Tavernier is priceless. He's been a real asset to the team, and it would have to be for more than Kyogo went. Somewhere between what O'Reilly and Kyogo went for is probably what you get from given his age, but he's not going anywhere. Hopefully he stays at Celtic.
See Lewandowski scored a brace last night, and he's now 4 clear of Mbappe in the La Liga top goal scorer charts.
Yeah. Good for him.
Mine does better, mate. Mine does better.
I never said that once.
That will be ingrained in my memory forever.
Good.
Well, the final question for me, gents, and then I'll let you speak to each other and just keep me in the background. Does Rangers beating Dundee 4-3 help or hinder Barry Ferguson's quest to become the permanent manager?
I think we've struggled. Those are the games we've struggled going away to these teams, like Pat mentioned in his compliment at the start. It's after a big game we've gone to the next team and struggled, and that's been the theme throughout the season. I do think it's helped him, but I still don't think he'll get the job full time.
Do you not think he's just papering over the cracks a lot better than Clement maybe did? But the cracks would still be solved by a decent manager.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe decent's a bit harsh, but like an experienced manager who like gets that team ticking. Like you shouldn't be going 3-1 down to Dundee. No. Or you certainly shouldn't be going 2-0, 2-1, then 3-1. That just shouldn't happen. Like it was mad.
I just think that sums us up, mate. I really do. I just think like we switch off, and then we get punished. We don't switch back on. We get punished immediately after. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and it's almost as if like it's been a theme for Rangers this season. It's waiting until we're 1 or 2 down and then going off.
I will say I think you would have lost that game under Clement.
Yeah, I was just about to get to that. I do think there has been that mentality shift in a sense. The players like, shit, we actually better do something here because we're going to get an absolute rollicking if we don't. And I don't think they've had that since Gerrard, really. I don't think they've been terrified to go back into the dressing room after a loss. And
I think Clement looked like a pretty scary guy.
He did at the beginning, and then all of a sudden it became almost like a soft touch, really. Do you know what I mean? I don't think people feared him. I don't think the players respected him. I don't think they had that fear. Whereas Barry, they've obviously got. I mean, maybe it's more Alan McGregor they're terrified of, but because that would be. But it's interesting. I don't think he's done himself any harm. I really don't. It'll be interesting to see if he can follow up though. If we can start better.
You'd like to think he can at least step into under 18s or maybe just go back to his ambassador role and he doesn't actually lose what he had built up at Rangers over the last few years.
I think if he does well, I think if he does quite well from now until the end of the season, walks away, and we've kind of closed the gap. We've obviously got through to the next stage of Europe. I think he can walk away quite.
Oh, he solidified his place in Rangers history, hasn't he? In terms of that, and
he was already a legend, but I think this is just enhanced
really well. No one wanted to see it. Well, Celtic fans did, but I don't think anybody neutral-wise wanted to see it maybe end up like a Frank Lampard Chelsea sort of situation. So,
don't speak too soon. I think he's going to get the job. I think he'll get the job.
I think so.
Yeah, I've got a funny feeling. I've said from the start, it reminds me of the Lenny situation, when there was probably a lot more glamorous options on the table. And, that ended up going all right for Celtic way back when. So
I don't think it would be disastrous, mate.
I was out on a run last weekend and I ran past the Clydeside Expressway and there was a massive billboard up and it was like an old Go Radio poster and it was like John Hartson and Barry Ferguson on it. And I had a wee chuckle to myself and I was like, oh my God, I still can't believe they signed the Go Radio manager. And then I was like, He came to Celtic Park and won 3-2.
Yeah,
kind of ruined my. I was like the last bit where I was like, oh my God, that's still going. We're going to win the league. It's going to be, still in for a treble, but that one's going to annoy me for a long, long time.
Yeah, I saw.
Was it just the manner that he lost? Is that why it's annoying, or is it just?
Yeah, I don't need to re-go over the painful memories of last episode, but
please,
it's still. The victory over Hearts goes some way to address it, but then you just think, why
I was listening to Arthur Newman on a podcast, and he was talking about his first Old Firm game and the one they lost 5-1.
Yeah.
And he was saying that Ian Ferguson came into the dressing room after the game going up, down and sideways, and they were, I think, they maybe 10 points clear in the league. And he said that Ian Ferguson basically shouted at him and said, I'd rather win this game 4 times a season than win the league. And he was like, that sums up the Old Firm. Like, they'd rather win all the games.
The fact that if we get beat at Ibrox, that'll ruin a treble speaks to the magnitude of the game and how much they matter.
But I think for us, I'm being serious when I say this, I think for us, for a very long time, we've not had that.
Because you've not had either.
No, but I mean, like, we've not had that. I get that, but I just meant like that mentality to be like, this game means everything. It's like win at all costs kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, we've not had that in a while, and I think that's been missing, and I think that's maybe why Barry was able to get the win over you, because he was like, this is not acceptable. Like, I don't give a crap if you're dying or you're on one leg, you will put everything you've got into this game. So that's for me as a fan, that's refreshing to see.
Well, listen, we're actually going to finish this episode with what is potentially one of my favourite ever questions sent into the Boy and the Bear podcast, and it's I'd imagine it's for Pat, to be honest with you, and it comes from Blair. So thanks very much for this, Blair. Patrick, would you rather fight 100 duck-sized Rangers fans or 1 elephant-sized Rangers fan?
I don't want to fight anyone. The purpose of this podcast is to bring, to show that you can be mates and, not be a Sectarian dickhead about it. But it's got to be 100 ducks, doesn't it? Sweep emotion with the foot, clear a few off at a time. Depends on the location of the fight. Actually, I don't want to take on it.
No, I wouldn't do that.
100 ducks.
We ask a serious question.
See, to be honest, it's actually a shite question.
This made me laugh.
Thanks, Blair.
Well, you have been listening to The Boy and the Bear. Email us your questions, hopefully better than the duck one, or complaints at theboyandthebear@gmail.com. And please do follow us on Instagram and TikTok at BoyBearPod, and we are on YouTube as well where these podcasts go up, and that is The Boy and the Bear podcast.
Hail, hail.
Follow.
Cheers, lads.